Hi, BookTube. So I joined Criminali's Wasted Weekend, where you read all the trashy books. He hosts the Garb August reading event, where you read garbage books in August. And so this is like a spinoff or a mini reading event. That way you have two occasions to read trashy books. And I know we all have our own uh, interpretation of what trashy books are. And so for me, I decided to go with like long running series or like the airport fiction, like the fast paced thrillers and things like that. And so I also, not only did I read a trashy book, but I also bought a whole slew of books I wanted to share with you. And so I read book 24 in the Sweet Valley High Francine Pascal series. This is Memories, and the tagline says, "Can Kara make Steven forget Trisha Martin?" And I read this on my Kindle because I own books 23 and 25, but I don't own 24. So I read it on my Kindle, and I think like Kindle Unlimited made all these books available on ebook a number of years ago, and so I got it from there. But this is basically like a soap opera series following two twins, a set of twins, Jessica and Elizabeth, where Elizabeth is like the put together writer, and like she's like the caring twin, and the responsible one, and then you have Jessica, who is rambunctious and stubborn and wants to get her way no matter what happens. But Steven is the older brother, and he lost his girlfriend. She died of leukemia in a previous book, and so now he's waffling with, oh, if he has a good day after she's like just like months later after she's died, that he's not holding her memory like he should, or if he has a good time with his friends, he forgot about her for a second, he's not holding her memory, like he should. So and then also he's becoming friends with another girl, Kara, and he's like just trying to overcome that grief, and part of like the grieving process of losing someone. So these books can have serious topics, like they can have death and murder and losing a friend or anything like that, but they're all just they're really quick for like 100-200 page books, and it's always like the last page is like, oh, then stay tuned for the next book, find out what happens to so and so. And so these always are great fun, and I grew up reading this series as a kid, and so I have been collecting them now as an adult, because I didn't get to keep any of the books I had as a kid, and I wish I could, because they're kind of hard to find. So speaking of that, when I went book shopping this weekend, I found a whole ton of the Sweet Valley University series, and so I just closed my Kindle. But this series is the Sweet Valley High, which is it was just the original series, and this focuses on their junior year, but there's also a spinoff of the senior year series, the SVH senior year, and this is a better copy. Yeah, it has like the senior year here, and then there's also a university series along with there's one about them when they're younger, when they're twins, and so these are a very popular series in the 80s and 90s, and so I'm rekindling my love of this series as an adult. And these are, like I said, I feel like are very much fall into the trashy genre, or the garbage genre, because these are like endlessly ongoing series, and the twins are constantly getting into all sorts of messes, even though the town is supposed to be like a nice, quaint Southern California town. all sorts of things happens. But anyway, so this is the university series, and so I tried to put them in some sort of order here. And so let's see, I think I have like 10 books or so, and I lucked out because I didn't own any of these. I have some of the books in the earlier part of the series. I have like books 1 through 20 or so, but not all of them, just like random ones from that time period. But these are all later on, between I have books 40 through 50 something. And I don't know how many books are in this series. I had some of these as a kid, or as like, or in middle school, high school time, but I can't remember which ones. So some of these will be new to me because I just read them completely out of order. Whatever I found at the local thrift store or the library, I would just pick up and read, because you can read these completely out of order because you're following the same characters in the same setting. So anyway, all that to be said, this is book 40, Summer Break, and it says Private Jessica. So I'm not sure exactly what she's doing, but she looks like she's becoming some kind of, Jessica, the rambunctious, untrustworthy one, is becoming she's attending the Florida Specialized Security Academy. So this is them summer breaks. They're leaving sunny Southern California for Florida. Yeah, so these are just off the wall, but lots of great fun. And then I have book 41 right after. So you're going from Florida to now it's Escape to New York. So and they also sometimes would have little mini series within the greater series. Okay, and then I have book 45, and this is no longer in the Summer Break series. This is Don't Let Go, and so something's going on here, because these also can be very like a mystery sometimes as well. Yes, there's a shocking murder, and Jessica is shattered, and then Elizabeth is dealing with, I don't want to spoil anything, but she's dealing with something she found out about one of her friends. And I think someone's not happy about it. Then we have book 47, You're Not My Sister. And this also became a TV show. That's why you have these, the pictures instead of the drawings like you had in the original Sweet Valley High series. And I never I never watched the series, but I think it's on some streaming service. So I need to give that a try. Then we have number 49, Road Trip. And this is Stranded. So this is another little mini series here. And then we have Summer of Love, book 50. 52, Fooling Around. And then 56, Dropping Out. And maybe this boy is why they're deciding to drop out. And then I have another kind of series within a series. These are all thriller editions. Because a lot of these books have some thriller elements sometimes. But these are I guess more focused on that. And this looks some kind of magic thing is happening. I don't know, some supernatural event. But this is The House of Death. Dun dun dun. This is when a deadly earthquake hits Sweet Valley High, and Sweet Valley University, and it's gonna follow 4 different characters on how that impacts them. And then the last one I have is another thriller edition, and this is What Winston Saw. Okay, so I have those books, and then I also found a bunch of seems to me to be self-published books. And these are all cozy mystery. This is a whole set of cozy mysteries. I found this at a little free library. And so it has a whole set of books 1 through 9. And they were in really good condition. And they just sounded like lots of fun to read. And so these are all part of the Sapphire Beach Cozy Mystery Series. And again, when I'm showing these on the trashy weekend, I'm not saying these are trash. I'm just saying they're lighthearted, good, fun books. That's how I'm interpreting the trashy genre. I'm not putting these down at all. But this is about Connie, and let's see. She has no other option but to sell the beachfront condo she recently inherited from her aunt. But there's a murder and so on. So this is, I think, taking place somewhere in southern Florida, I want to say. I'm not sure exactly where. I think somewhere in southern Florida. And there's a dog. Maybe Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I don't know, something. I'll read this one and report back. But I also figured, since these are from a free library, if I read book 1 and I don't like it, then I can easily return them right back. But so no harm, no foul. But yeah, let me know if you've read anything by Angela K. Ryan. When I looked her up on Goodreads when I got home, she's written a number of series, and they're all these cozy mysteries, and so she has really good reviews as well. So I have high hopes that I'm going to like these. But also how there's a bunch of alliteration. This is Surf, Sand, and Skeletons. It's reminding me of the Cozy Camper Criminal series. Is that what it's called? They take place in Kentucky, and I'm blanking on the author's name. But I read a number of those books. There's like 40 or 50 books in that series. But yeah, how these are titled reminds me of that. So we have book 2. And then we have Peers, Pliers, and Problems. Candy Canes and Cadavers. Snowbirds and Suspects. I noticed that the dog is curled up like this in every single book on the cover. Bridesmaids and Bodies. Hurricanes and Homicide. Yeah, even when she's holding him, he has the same exact shape. Kayaks and Killers. And then the last one here is Friends, Foes, and Felonies. Okay, and so let's see here. I also got several of these gothic suspenseful books, and they're I guess I would say like romantic fiction in a way. There's always a couple involved, but there's like it's mostly focused on like this woman is moving to a house, and they're like there's like the lord of the manor or whatever, something something along those lines. But something is amiss with the house, and so there's always a couple involved, but it's not like romantic or anything like that. But it eventually will end with her, wanting to marry someone, something like that. This is Snowfire by Phyllis A. Whitney. This is also an author that I read a ton of as a kid, and so when I found these older editions, I had to grab them because along with how I lost all of my Sweet Valley books, I had almost every single book that this author wrote, and I lost all of them as well. But this is Snowfire. So I've read this, but it's been at least 20 years, if not longer, since I read this series. So this book, so I can't remember, what happens. But these are for sure rereadable. Listen for the Whisperer. And so Phyllis A. Whitney, she wrote for a long span of time. And so every single book took place in a different spot. So this is in Norway, and this one is, does it say Greystones? That's the name of the manor, but I'm not sure exactly where. But each one is in a different spot. And so before I looked up this author, she talked about how she literally would fly and visit these places, so she would try to get an accurate description of the area. So happy to find these. These are the Fawcett Crest editions, and I just love the painted covers. I wish we could bring them back instead of trending towards AI. Can we go back to the painted covers, please? This came out in 72, and this edition was from 74. Okay, and then speaking of spin-off series, I found a series that the first book in a series I have never heard of before, and probably because I didn't grow up reading this. So this is a spin-off of the Babysitter's Club books. I think so, because I saw the Babysitter Club books as a kid, but I didn't read them. I even had the board game. I played the board game, but I never read them. And so I'm reading them now as an adult, and I think I'm on book 40 something or so, maybe book 50. So it's going to take me a while to get to this one in the series. I looked it up on the Babysitter's Club book series list, where it has every single book imaginable, and it gives you the publication order. So this one was on there. I just hadn't a clue. But this is California Diaries. This is Dawn, which is one of the original Babysitter Club members. And this is Friends, Changes, Together, and Alone. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. But when I opened it up, it immediately, every single page, from page 1, so this is the cover, and then page 1 on, is these lined like notebook pages. So it for sure looks like a book came out, 97. So I was gonna say like 2000 or so, but it came out in August of 97. So super duper interested in how what this series is about. So yeah, I'm lucky I found book 1, but when I looked on that website, and there for the publication order, there's a whole bunch of babysitters that had these diary collections. So we'll see, but it's gonna be a while before I get to these, because I have to read the Babysitter's Club books, and I'm reading I'm not reading everything. I'm not reading the little kids version with Karen and whatnot, but I'm reading the Babysitter's Club books, the mysteries, and the super specials. But still, that's like, I think like 130, 150 books, and so maybe by the time I get to this one, I'll have more from the series. But if not, I'll have the first one to check out. And then the last group of books I found, I couldn't believe it because these books just came out, and these are like super good condition. But I found a bunch of the Harlequin Intrigue line books, and they all have like this logo. And the Intrigue are my favorite line of Harlequin because it focuses on the mystery. There's a romance kind of happening in the background where two characters are meeting, or they were friends and they're becoming interested in each other. But it's almost solely from like page 1, sentence 1 through. It's all about them like on the run or they're solving a mystery or crime. And so I love these kind of books. And so I recognize some of the authors, but not all of them. But so yeah, let me know if you recognize any of these authors and let me know what you think. Because the one thing is I don't like reading like the steamy books, the sexy books. I'm like not interested in that at all. And I know like Intrigue mostly doesn't have any of that, but I feel like sometimes it creeps in, especially in the newer publication, in the newer books. I could be wrong, but all of these came out in 2025. Like this one, for example, came out in April of 2025, and all like they're all like these the new format compared to the older Harlequin, which is your typical mass market, which is like tall and skinny. And so if I compare them, they're the same height, but this one, the newer publication has like half an inch wider, and so they're really floppy. And so I'm a fan. I like it. The covers, I'm questioning if they're like AI or something. I don't know. But I still like the wilderness and the setting the mood of the books. And so this is Stalked Through Mist by Carla Cassidy. I'm not familiar at all with this author, but it says the fog conceals a killer who's hunting them both. I need to find room where I'm going to put these books. Okay. Then we have Hunting the Crossbow Killer by Lena Diaz. And again, these all came out in 2025, so I'm not going to keep mentioning the order here. But this is some of the books I found like multiple books by the same author, but this is part of the Mystic Lake Mystery series. Then we have Vanished in the Mist. And then switching authors to Barb Hahn, Escape Big Bend Canyon. And it says, can 2 U.S. Marshals survive in the wilderness against an escaped killer? Another book by Barb Hahn, Twin Threats in Austin. And this one says, she can't let anything get in the way of their hunt for a killer. Cindy Myers, Peak Suspicion. When harassment turns to an attempted murder, they must reveal their secrets. Cliffside Kidnapping, Caridad Pinero. Her parents are being held prisoner in a nefarious hacking plot. And then Canine Justice by Nicole Severn. A canine will help her catch a criminal cartel. And then another book by Severn, Disappearance at Angel's Landing. This looks like the Grand Canyon. It says a hiker becomes a murder victim. Now the rescuer becomes the hunter. And then, let's see, Memory of Murder by Deborah Webb. Was her mother guilty? A daughter needs to know. I feel like I've read the Deborah Webb before. This is like one of the only authors I recognize here, but I can't remember what her writing is like. Then we have the last one here, Ozark's Conspiracy by Maggie Wells. And when I saw the Ozark, I was like, oh, I have to read it, because I love these kind of books that really encompass the setting as a part of the book, where you feel like you're there, or you're in the sticky, humid air, or you're like the sticky, humid swamps of Louisiana, or the Grand Canyon, or different settings like that. I really like that, and I feel like the Intrigue line does a good job of that. And so this one says, she becomes the target of a cyber criminal. Can she help him find the culprit? So those are all of, if I can hold these up, they're all falling. But yeah, so these are all of the Harlequin intrigue books that I found for the trashy weekend. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of these authors, because I would be curious to know if they're like the clean romances or not, because I would rather stick with that, with those kind of romance books. And again, that's why I like the intrigue or like the heartwarming or the love inspired, because especially for the love inspired and the heartwarming, there's just like a kiss here and there, or like hand holding. That's right up my alley. So yes, these are all the books I found for the the wasted weekend. I have so many, I can't hold them up. But I for sure need to read. I need to make time for more wasted weekends in order to read all these. And there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like I need that sometimes, especially if I had a stressful week. I need to just dive in and let my mind get off work and get off the stress and just enjoy the wonders of books. But I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.